My favorite things about the Direct are as follows. Kingdom Hearts 4's first reveal in 4 years. The reveal of the Ocarina of Time remake. Xenoblade Genesis. And the general consensus pretty much immediately afterward that the school setting that was revealed in the Xenoblade Genesis trailer is going to explode within the second chapter. What? Where did... I don't understand where this consensus came from, right? Because here's my understanding of the situation. People are not really with the idea of Xenoblade specifically having a school-dedicated setting, mostly because Xenoblade is a high fantasy series in which you are going on grand adventures in a massive open world, right? And the idea of being trapped in a school like that in a JRPG sounds suffocating and awful to people, apparently. But, I mean... me personally, I didn't think too hard on that concept, in all honesty, because I liked Three Houses. You know what I'm saying? I know a lot of people are making a lot of very heavy comparisons to Fire Emblem Three Houses. I never really had a problem with that because I thought people liked Fire Emblem Three Houses, so I don't understand what the upset is here, right? Because even if we did have a school setting, I can't imagine we would be confined there to that degree. Obviously, we have, the school in Three Houses as our primary hub, but we venture out constantly. We're going to different areas, different places. It's a tactical RPG. It works very differently. In the case of Xenoblade, which is a high fantasy, like more closely resembling that of like an action RPG, I imagine it would play out more along the lines of like, this is going to be weird to say because I know a lot of people hate it, but like Pokemon, where we do have the school setting, but it's not going to be like, it's not going to be confined there. Like we have the school there. It's what introduces us to all the characters and maybe a lot of motivations and stuff like that in one tight-knit space, so that when we do venture out and we find all these familiar faces from the school, it has a little bit of a connection already. We have a little bit of history. That makes sense. You know what I'm saying? I don't think we're going to be in a situation where we're confined to that school. We already saw like 3 seconds of gameplay of them running across a field. That is Xenoblade if I have ever seen it. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, I don't understand the crazy consensus that the school is going to blow up, even if it doesn't, right? First off, now it has to for me, right? I'm going to be severely disappointed if it doesn't, only because it would be goddamn hilarious if something caused that school to just pop. Because everybody expected it. That would be ridiculous. And I understand, right, that Xenoblade games have some of the craziest kickoffs I have ever seen in media. Like, they have the craziest call to action I've ever witnessed in video games, right? And I love Kingdom Hearts, you know what I'm saying? I love Final Fantasy, but Xenoblade call to action is some of the nastiest work I have ever seen. You know what I'm saying? Like, the Mechonis raiding, the city within the first game. Obviously, Rex dying within the first, couple hours of Xenoblade 2. Like, I get it. I understand. So that school blowing up, that's crazy enough, not even that much of a stretch. And it would be genuinely hilarious only because of the consensus around it, right? But even if it doesn't, I'd be cool if it didn't. That all being said, I've rambled a lot here, but I still have a major question. A couple of major questions, actually. What in the hell is Xenoblade Genesis, right? And that's kind of a layered question, right? First off, what is it in terms of Xenoblade, right? Because here's the thing. This game, more than the other game, all of the other 4 games in the trilogy, take on much more of a high fantasy aesthetic, right? With the elven people, with the dragon aesthetic going on, with the worlds that we seem to be, with the areas and worlds that we seem to be placed in, you know what I'm saying? This, more than ever, seems to be a lot more heavily into its fantasy aesthetic, But this is Xenoblade we're talking about. It's not like its sci-fi elements and aspects won't show itself in some way, shape, or form. Right now, it is super surface level from what we've seen with the trailer. Obviously, it was giving us an idea of like some of its power systems, some of its characters, just a little bit of its world, or at least, you know, where they reside right now. And that's kind of it, right? We don't actually know all that much of anything. Right? We can make assumptions based on little bits and pieces and bobs that we've seen here and there based on, you know, what we know of previous Xenoblade games, but that's all they are, is just assumptions. I haven't even looked at the website, right? I know I should, especially as a content creator. I kind of hate delving too deeply into a game that's far away because I get more hyped for it, I get more excited for it, and then I get upset because it's so far. Like, we don't know when in 2027 this game is going to be out, and it's just so agonizing because I love Xenoblade, and I know for a fact that Xenoblade Genesis is going to be a day one comp for me. I know it is. So I'll look into it eventually. We're going to definitely have to talk more about Xenoblade Genesis because I do want to make like a little bit of a wish list and like, you know, things I want to see or things that I expect from Xenoblade Genesis video going forward, but I need more information. But as of right now, we don't exactly know how much of the sci-fi elements that Xenoblade is usually known for is going to make itself present here. And that's one of the major things that I'm very, very curious about, right? Next to that, and this one is probably even more so of a massive question, what is this gameplay finna look like right now, right? Because based on the way that they were talking about, like, I think there is a mention of arts somewhere, so I imagine arts of some kind are gonna come into play, but the way, I don't know, there's just something about that little tidbit of movement that we saw within the gameplay within the trailer that suggests that this is going to be a very different feeling Xenoblade title, right? And the whole, obviously, you know, the whole point of Genesis, right? They've made it very clear based on what they presented here that they want this to be a good entryway point to the series for people, right? They don't want people to have to feel like they need to be obligated to play through Xenoblade 1, 2, 3, and all of their DLCs to be properly set up to play Xenoblade Genesis. Anybody can just pick up Xenoblade Genesis and just get into it from there, which is fine. The original Xenoblade trilogy had its time, it did its thing. They finished up their arc. Now we're moving on to the next major arc, right? So that being said, you know, what is this gameplay going to look like? Is it going to be I don't even know what to call, what genre that fits into. I assume it's still action based, like action RPG, or I don't know. It's such a weird blend, but you know, is it going to play like a traditional Xenoblade game where it does have that style of combat? Or are we moving into something a little bit more strange? You know, like maybe we have more of a Tales of situation? I don't know, right? That's what I'm really, really curious about, is to see what they do with this next new combat system, right? Because the thing about Xenoblades 1, 2, and 3, right? The combat is if there's anything you can say about those first 3 Xenoblade games, it's that the combat improved drastically throughout those games, right? I think most people will probably at least somewhat agree that the combat in Xenoblade 1, especially after coming back to it from 2 and 3, feels awful. Like, it doesn't, okay, not awful per se, that's probably a dramatic way of putting it, but it's just so underdeveloped. It just doesn't feel like much. Like, the combat system is just kind of blah in Xenoblade 1, right? It's still neat, it's still very good, you know, it's still very unique and well developed, but it still felt like it was missing a lot, especially coming in after, you know, other Xenoblade games, right? Because that's the thing, I did try back in the day when I started with Xenoblade, I did play Xenoblade 1 on my Wii, and I just wasn't feeling that combat system. I actually hated it, right? It wasn't until I got very late into 2 and started to really truly understand the combat that I went back to 1 to, you know, after the definitive edition had released, that I fully understood what they were trying to do there. And I still love the game. I'm probably gonna pick up the Nintendo Switch 2 edition of it probably today. I don't know. I've been wanting to get back into Xenoblade now that we're getting into this Genesis arc, right? But as of right now, I just can't help but wonder, like, how are we going to progress this? Oh my god, did I say 3 Xenoblade games? 4. Sorry. I still like the combat system in Xenoblade Chronicles X. I just, you know, the Prime 3 is what I'm looking at right now. But, you know, the whole mech system with X, it's a mess. Regardless, they progressed that combat system so much that I am so excited to see how they go about evolving this combat system now. Like, is it going to even feel like traditional Xenoblade? Are we still going to have, like, the classic art system where we are, you know, just building up meters constantly so that we can use all of these special attacks for debuffs and for, you know, our days, our stuns, our trips, for like all of that, like our general combat systems? Are we still going to be utilizing those like we always do, or are we looking at a very different situation? It's very, very hard to tell, you know, but I mean, I'm excited either way, because again, the farther you get into the series, the better the gameplay feels. And, you know, despite how you may feel about Xenoblade 1, 2, or 3 stories, you have to admit that those combat systems get so much better over time, and they're all so fun to play around with and mess with, especially to break down the line, right? So I'm so excited to see what goes on next with that combat system. But as of right now, because of all of the major changes that seem to be happening when it comes to Genesis, you know, just the timeline that it seems to be taking place in, which again, we don't even know, it just feels so different and almost damn near disconnected from traditional Xenoblade. But I think that's one of the things that excites me the most, is that it's such a crazy take on it, right? They've obviously been planning this title for a very long time, and we don't know for sure whether or not they were planning the entire time to tack the Xenoblade title on there, but we do know that it is there now, and they clearly had a brain blast moment in connecting Xenoblade with this high fantasy concept that they were creating, right? Or maybe they did, I don't know. Maybe you guys know more than I do, but based on the limited knowledge that I have when it comes to the development of the Xenoblade games, I don't know if they actually had plans to connect it right from the get-go. But who knows? They're crazy with their stories, man. It's really, really hard to tell. So, I don't know. And then my final major question is just like, when precisely does this take place, right? In conjunction with the Xenoblade timeline, right? Obviously, again, it's not going to matter in the long run, because this is going to be a starting point for a lot of people. Obviously, in reality, you could start anywhere when it comes to Xenoblade. It doesn't matter. Eventually, you're gonna want the full package, the full story, and you're gonna have to go visit the other games, right? As long as you don't finish the DLC for 3 before you know, complete everything else, then you're fine. You can play it out of order. I wouldn't recommend doing that, but you can. You know what I'm saying? But more so than ever, this one seems to be much heavier or much more disconnected than the previous titles. So it's just like, okay, where are we going from here? Right? Like, where does this take place? Like, how heavy is the connection going to be to the stories that we've been growing up with all this time within the realm of Xenoblade? It's such a trip, and I'm so excited to see what they bring to the table with that. I don't know what the camps of people look like for this thought process, but I am in neither camp in particular when it comes to whether or not it needs to have something that relates to the original trilogy, or if it needs to be its own thing. I could go either way, right? I do want to see some, like, just some of that Xenoblade flourish to it. I want to see that Xenoblade touch to it, right? No matter what. I want to see the crazy kickoff, the call to action. I want to see the weird and unique but fun, you know, combat and magic and, you know, art system. I want to see, you know, I still want to see sci-fi elements if it is present. I hope that's still a thing. It would be really cool to have, you know, these maybe a dragons versus mecha situation. I don't know. I want to see, you know, where they take this. I'm just very curious to see where they take this. But, you know, more importantly, I want to get invested in these characters. I want to get invested in this story and its world. I want to see what they do here. I want it. It's simple as that. It really is. It doesn't matter to me whether or not they do connect it to the original 3 or they don't. I could take it either way. You know what I'm saying? It would be awesome if they did. It would be interesting if they didn't. Simple as that. But that's where my head is at. Obviously, I need to do a little bit more delving into Xenoblade again. I really want to, you know, refresh my memory on the games and things like that before I start making some, like, heavy wish lists and all that, so that we can, you know, really properly, you know, talk about Xenoblade Genesis before it comes out. Because I do want to, like, do something with this game. I don't know if I'll stream the whole game. That would be too long, unless you guys really want to see that. Like, I'd be down, obviously. I'd be playing the game anyway. I'd be down to stream it if people want to see that, but we'll have to play that by ear. But either way, that just about does it for me, so I'm passing the mic over in your direction. I want you guys to tell me everything that you're thinking in the comment section below. Are you also super curious about what's going on with Xenoblade Genesis? Are you excited for this game? Do you want to see what it brings to the table? Are you excited for its magic? Are you excited for its more high fantasy level aesthetic and, you know, magic systems and things like that? Or are you on the opposing side? You don't give a damn about Xenoblade Genesis. This does not appeal to you in any way, shape, or form, and you want more. You want Xenoblade 4 as opposed to whatever is going on with Genesis. Tell me everything that you guys are thinking in the comment section below, because you know for a fact that I'm always going to be down there with you guys. But with that, yes ma'am, it does appear to be skedaddle o'clock, so I'm going to go ahead and do just that. I'd like to thank you guys ever so much for watching. I truly do hope you enjoyed. Do me a greatest favor of dropping a like and a comment, and consider subscribing for more content just like this here. And with that, I'm gone, so thanks again, hope you enjoyed, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next video. Do me the greatest favor, taking good ass care, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!